When our doula Anna came over for our first birth preparation class and session with her, she had me and Warren each write down the top 5 words that we would associate with this birth when we envisioned it. And I wrote down love, peaceful, magical, spiritually transformative, connected, and powerful. I wrote down 6 words. And as I think back on this birth experience that I had with Lucas, those are exactly the words that I would use to describe the birth. It really was just the most loving and sweet and also transformative experience. Lucas was born early in the morning on the 15th of November. And he was born in a little birthing, kind of like a mini birth center, a birthing suite within a hospital here in Valencia. The birthing suite was equipped with a big hot tub jacuzzi, a kind of curtain that I could use just on top, hanging down over the tub for support if I wanted to squat. There was birth ball and tub and lighting and aromatherapy, and the room was so special. And it allowed for me to labor mostly in the tub. My vision for the birth was to have a water birth. And interestingly, towards the end of the labor, just before I went in transition, I kind of got a little ping of sorts and realized like Lucas didn't want to be born in the water for whatever reason. And my body's slowing down of surges or contractions, the longer I stayed in the water, kind of felt like also kind of a good sign that I probably shouldn't stay in the water. But being there and having access to all of those different kind of tools to work with was incredible. That actually was the accumulation of multiple days and nights. My early labor started on the 11th. Interestingly, I had told a lot of people that I had kind of envisioned that he would be born on 11/11/22. It's a really cool number, and the date it's a beautiful kind of poetic number. So lo and behold, on the early evening of the 11th, early labor did begin. I found myself feeling the surges, and I started timing them, getting really excited, thinking this is it, it's gonna happen tonight. But as the night went on the 11th, the surges slowed and then stopped altogether. So by early morning, there was nothing anymore. And the same thing happened the next night on the 12th. The same thing happened on the 13th too. But on the 13th, I found that at some point in the night, I don't know when, it could have been a dream or it could have been a vision, I found myself kind of having a conversation with this spirit baby who I now know to be Lucas. And through the conversation, it became really clear just how much I could support him and support this birth by really just sending so much love and welcome to him. So on the morning of the 14th, I found myself in meditation, just sending love and sending so much joy and good energy. And I found myself writing in my journal to him specifically and just saying how excited we were and writing out some of the things that I couldn't wait to do with him. And contractions continued all throughout that day. And I felt like as we were kind of in conversation, my body was really responding. I got a nice connection call with my doula, Anna, that day. And at the end of our call, I started to feel like, I think that I either might have peed a little or my water might have broken a little bit, which felt like a really good and promising sign. The surges continued in kind of irregular style of different lengths and different variations throughout that day. So I went for a long walk with my mother-in-law, had a really nice ladies' lunch, and then by the time I got back to the apartment in the late afternoon, my yoga pants definitely reflected that some part of my membranes had ruptured. So the water had broken somehow, somewhat. So we had an early dinner that night on the 14th, and my mother-in-law made a really yummy oxtail soup. We all had dinner together. Lila had already learned from the previous nights. Warren had taught her some of our breathing techniques. And she just kept holding my hand during the surges and saying, "Mommy, it's okay. Mommy, don't worry, feel better. It's okay." It was like so sweet. And she helped me when I was taking a shower to kind of relieve some of the discomfort. And then we all got into bed and just tried to sleep as much as humanly possible, knowing that it was probably going to be a long journey ahead. Couple hours into the night, I found myself ready to get up and start to really engage in this labor. The surges were getting way more regular. Active labor had started. So I went into my living room. I lit a bunch of candles. I had this really beautiful mala with me that one of my dear friends made to support me during this labor. And then I did a little cacao ceremony with me and this baby, just to really kind of call in all the guardian angels and to have my energetic team with me, and to also really ground in my intentions for this labor and birth, to stay true to that in which I had envisioned to the best of my ability. A little later, Warren came out and we did some kind of hip movements. He helped me. He had a rebozo that our doula Anna had lent to us that he used for some gentle massage, counter pressure. And he really just supported me to make sure that I was feeling really good. Every surge, he would breathe with me through the duration of the surge, and that just kept me so centered and so focused. And then in between, we would chat and talk, and we drank ginger tea and ate medjool dates, and it was actually really lovely. At a certain point, the surges really started picking up to the point that it was like, let's call our doula. And she has such a strong intuition. It's crazy. Anna, our doula, she lives about an hour drive away from us in Valencia, in one of the suburbs. And when Warren texted her to say, "Hey, I think it's time for you to come over," knowing it would be a while for her to get here, and this is probably around like 11 at night, she texted saying, "Great, I'll be up in a couple minutes." An hour earlier, she had gotten a little ping like, "I need to head over there. I'll just wait for them until they're ready for me." She brought her Kindle and she was just going to read and hang out in her car until we texted. And within minutes of her arriving, we were like, "We'd love for you to come." Once she got here, it was so wonderful. She brought in her kind of master book of labor support methods and helped me through some really, powerful and intense surges. She did a really amazing spinning babies nerve system reset massage of sorts, help with the rebozo. We were changing around, trying different things out. And at a certain point, Warren went to go take a nap, and Anna and I were listening to stand-up comedy from Ali Wong when she was pregnant and did a comedy special on Netflix. So we were laughing, getting the oxytocin flowing. Around 2 a.m. or so, I felt ready to go to the birthing room, to the maternity suite. We all got in the car and headed on over there. Our midwife, Amparo, was waiting for us. She was like, "Let's do this." She had the tub hot and full of water. She had the lighting on. She had the aromatherapy going. I was so excited when she checked how far along I was. I was about 5 centimeters dilated, but fully effaced, which is a huge milestone in labor. I got into the tub and Warren and Anna were setting everything up. I had some crystals that I wanted to have in the tub with me. Anna had a bunch of battery operated candles. And I also had a little kind of altar of sorts, which included an image of Mother Mary and some other things that were of personal significance to me. So I felt like really watched over and just really at ease. Amparo, the midwife, she said she was going to go call my OB, Monica, to let her know that I was there. And I expected to see Monica, by the time I was pushing at the very end. However, within about 20 or 30 minutes, Monica appeared. So my doctor, my OB, was there, and she just stayed for the whole night with us. And she kind of just sat back and was really, I felt like she was there as a witness. And whenever I needed support, she offered it. Like when contractions and the surges kind of started to slow down, or I felt like I needed to change position, she would offer different recommendations. Like to boost up the oxytocin, she was like, "Oh, try nipple stimulation," or, "Oh, have you thought about trying squatting to work with gravity?" And so it really felt like this co-creative experience Amparo, the midwife, also was incredibly helpful at kind of helping with the position of the baby and showing me a really gentle hip rocking technique in the tub. And we were like laughing for a lot of it when I wasn't having a surge. And when I was doing this humming breathing that it felt like I was just kind of breathing the baby down. Anna is trained in hypnobirthing, and so Lauren and I took kind of preparation classes in this practice with her, and it really opened my eyes to what is possible. And I found that towards the end of my labor, and I was actually throughout the labor, I was talking to myself a lot and talking to the baby aloud and really using my voice and being in kind of activation with that vibration. And I found myself saying aloud, this doesn't have to be hard. This doesn't have to be hard. And really actively facing this belief that at least towards the end of the labor, during transition, things need to be crazy or pushing is intense. And it didn't need to be that way. And so as I kind of found myself speaking aloud to myself and even kind of coaching a little bit, it brought me to this deeper space of being at ease and being in trust. It kind of felt like Dr. Monica and Amparo maybe had thought that our labor would have gone even faster than it did. Although from the time we got to the hospital around 2 or 2:30 until Lucas was born at 7:05 in the morning, it's not that long of time. But I also found a little bit, I was getting almost like maybe things should move a little faster. And so being with that kind of voice of like, go, do, and really just deconstructing it and saying, hey, like, we're good. This is co-creative. We're taking our time and it's okay. That was a really big part of it. As I mentioned at the beginning, although I had envisioned a water birth, that's not what ended up happening. And it was so beautiful. So when I kind of got to transition, it was like, I need to get out of the water. And I got out and I got onto the bed and they changed the different levels of the bed. They like raised the where the pillow is up. So I was kind of on all fours, hands and knees, and trying out that position, trying different positions, putting my leg up, just really getting guidance from my team. And then at a certain point, I was like, no, I need to lay on my side. As in my doula training, working with clients, I always knew that side lying with a peanut ball in between the legs is one of the best positions for pushing if you have an epidural and if you want to limit tearing. However, it always to me felt like kind of a soft position. I couldn't imagine actually pushing a baby out in that position. So of course, that's exactly what my body said I needed to be in. And as I think back now, I look down at this image of myself laying on my side. I was in the fetal position. I was in the full kind of, I was fully in a space of surrendering. And oh my gosh, it's like crazy to think about this moment of being on my side and feeling like he's coming down and breathing him down. And there was no force and there was no pressure. There was no there was none of the intensity that I had experienced the first time with my birth with Lila. And I was like, wow, this really is, I mean, it was intense, but it wasn't forceful. And I just felt my transverse abdominals engaged, and with each breath, just bringing him down and down and having him travel down, and really the whole time being so in awareness of this spirit of welcoming him and showing him love and acceptance. And I found myself, as I was getting into that pushing stage, just calling out to him, like, I love you, and inviting my team there to also say it aloud. Like, that was the mantra that brought Lucas to this world. I love you. It was so beautiful. And again, none of this is, I mean, it all is just happening in real time. And so he came out, and my vision was also that I could catch him if it worked out, I was in the right position. And Monica, she honored that, and she literally, as he was starting to come out, she grabbed my arm and she helped me as I pulled him up to my chest. And that first moment of just feeling him on my chest and breathing and seeing him breathe, and the moment I will never forget for the rest of my life. And I I can't even believe it was like, it felt like it was lasted forever and it was just a moment. And Warren was right there with me the whole way through. Yeah, I feel so thankful. It really feels like this experience that was facilitated by this whole team of amazing women and Warren, and it was just, it was. So that's the Lucas's birth in a nutshell, in a snapshot. I could go on with so much more detail, but for the sake of time, I'll stop there for now. But it feels really good to say it out loud, to share it, to speak it, and to start to explore it now that I have a little bit of distance from that actual birthday. One thing I'll add that's super cool is that after Lucas was born, and then after I birthed the placenta, Amparo, just as kind of a hobby, I guess, she makes placenta art. So she brought a big piece of paper and different colored paints, and she actually made a print of the placenta, which was so cool. And then yeah, my doula Anna, who was there the whole time with us, just such a force of calm and grounding and love. She helped to make sure that the latch was good and breastfeeding was getting off to a good start. And yeah, and then I was, headed up to a room where I got to spend the next couple of days just in intensive recovery. It was just incredible. So that is my first attempt at sharing my birth story. Thank you so much for listening.